All right, so right in here we come in with our brush and we just kind of darken that up a little bit, make a happy little spot out of that right there. And yeah, don't forget, clean the brush. All right, guys, so here we are. We are working on our battery cover that is built for the 35 Chevy. And I don't know, it started out kind of as a joke, like what can you build out of fiberglass? How can you strengthen up some cardboard and get this thing to work? And you can see the outside is a color. It's been painted, and I just like threw a random color on it, cleared it. This thing has sat for, I have to look at the other video, but it's probably been close to a year since we built that. And in this video, we're going to take this and we're going to the next level with it. You know, as you all know, the inside of the old car has got a wood floor, and this is the basic color of that wood floor. So I am wanting to make this look like that. And what I did was went out to Amazon and I bought, of course, the cheapest stuff. So you come up with these different squeegees, and they have this round pattern, and you may have seen this before, but those things will allow you to make a grain pattern in your project. And then you've got this for just putting some straight grain in and blending some stuff. We'll use some dry paint brushes and other things. And the other piece you got to do is you got to come up with colors that are going to work for your wood. So this is basically my color palette here that I've picked, and I just put it on some stir sticks so that it would be easy for you guys to see. Kind of what we want to do is we want to start with light and work our way up to dark. I took this and I cleaned it up and I put my light color on there, and we're going to grab us some waterborne toners and make us some wood grain on this metal. It's just a hardener can that I cut the lid out of. Let's see what we can do, guys.
What's it called? Antique.
Okay, so we want to wipe it down with our wax and grease remover. We got her spritzed on there, and start wiping. You want to jump up and wipe it down. It may take a while. So we're going to use this aerosol just to get us a nice little base color on here. Try not to soak it down too wet. I want to get it good coverage and all that stuff. Kind of sand it through on some of the corners, but whatever, it'll be just fine. Yeah, this is just Sim color coats, all it is. It says it's Palomino color, and it works good, dude. After 3 coats, we got full coverage on here. Can't see any of those sand throughs anymore. So yeah. All right, guys, so here's the deal. I tried doing this just over that aerosol paint, and it seems like it's soaking it up. It's kind of porous, so it's not working quite as good as what I think it should. So I did take this panel and I re-clear coated it. And now that I've re-cleared it, I'm gonna take it and sand it down with a little bit of 600 grit, so we're working right on top of that nice sanded clear. And I would have just done it previously with the other color, but it just didn't look quite enough like wood. It was a little too green. And you know, I'm not perfect. I don't know if you can see that. You know, nobody is, but I got a huge ass run in this thing, so that's bad. That is bad, a couple of them, but we're gonna sand it and reshoot it anyway, so no big deal, no harm, no foul. It'll all sand out, right? All right, guys, you saw the runs and everything I put in stuff. That sucks, but that's the way it is. This little practice piece turned out good, and we're just gonna keep, I'm using a sponge. That works a lot better than I think in the last effort I had, I just tried to use a rag, and that didn't work very good. So all I'm trying to do here is take this sponge, smooth this stuff over a little bit, get us some color on here. And I put just a tiny bit of water on that sponge. You just have to play with this to get the consistency that you need. And I took the handle off of this piece because my little can, you know how they pop around and the sheet metal moves on you. Well, that's exactly what this is doing. So I just take it and You just rock this thing back and forth. I'm keeping it curved a little bit as I do it. And yeah, you can see the effect there. We get a little grain going. And you just have to play with it. That's kind of the whole thing. We're getting this effect how we like it. You can see it's dropping wood grain pretty cool on there, right? So we got our wood grain kind of started. Now we have to let it dry for just a little bit, because I don't know if the camera shows, but everywhere there is toner on there, it's really wet. So all I'm going to do is just use a dry, cheap Harbor Freight chip brush, no pressure, and just take that thing and drag it through that wet. And it kind of grabs the wet stuff, the little brush bristles, pull it, and you get a little bit more realistic grain effect. So all right. Here is first attempt of kind of playing and getting the wood grain down and then brushing through it, using all kinds of stuff. All right, there you go. This is fully dry now. So we're gonna take and load our brush up with some of this stuff, drag a little on here, maybe use a sponge a tad, and then come back in with our little squeegee, use that. It's just keep playing with it till you get it to look the way you want it to. All right, guys, so we just continue working this stuff and doing it up. This is just a practice piece, and I've got a little bit of time in it, but man, it's so much better to practice and figure out the process before you get onto that bigger piece. Okay, I keep turning the camera off and turning it back on because it's cold in here and water dries really slow, or waterborne. So now I'm going to try not to drag all the color out of my grain. I did that already once, and I am just barely touching this thing. The technique I like going, I got that toner on the edge over here, and I tap my brush on my sponge so I don't have just tons of color on it. So it gets more realistic each time.
Arms purchasers, basically individuals buying things for themselves. That
all right,
later
so again, going through light brush. Now just use our finger
they decided to very specifically
and yeah, I don't know, we're really close to being able to pass this as fake wood. Yeah, that's a little bit faster than a run. That's a gallop right there, buddy. Got another little one over here. We're good everywhere else. I knew I was gonna have to sand this. I really didn't want to run it, but hey, I was in a hurry, and that's what you get. All right, so the real piece, got it here. You saw the last efforts on the practice, so we're just gonna try to make this thing look like some wood. Sponge, it's got a few transparent toners on it and a very little bit of water. It doesn't actually wet the surface down, but those dark streaks help get that effect of grain going. And you can tell from here to here, very little difference in light and darkness. But again, it's that building of the layers that make it really look like wood. And just drag it. I mean, our wood is pretty straight grain right now, but you can see it's really, it's starting to look like something. we'll just keep building it up, try not to throw our stuff in the floor anymore. And yeah, we'll get it there. So there you go. We built it up. And all I'm doing is, I mean, it's a cheap Harbor Freight chip brush. Get a little bit of that toner on there. Rub it out. Come in here. And I believe they call the technique dry brushing. It's almost completely dry there. And you just kind of highlight. Let the bristles do the work for you. Everything's all happy looking. Yeah. So I'll just keep going across here until this whole thing looks like wood. Oh wow. No, he's got heat. He's going for all the beans. Yeah, don't want to spontaneously combust. All right, guys, check that out. Unfortunately, GoPro. It locked up in the middle of trying to brush and getting my Bob Ross action happening there. So we've got the grain. I think it looks pretty realistic. I tried to make separation where it was like boards in that floor. It kind of worked. Over on this side, no separation of boards or anything, but man, we've got a heck of a good look here to our wood. So what does every good custom guy do? We got to add to it. It needs a couple little knots and some stuff in there to just bring that look full circle for us. So let's get to doing that. All right, guys, so we're just going to take a little bit of this darker color. First, we're going to get this slightly damp, very, very slightly. You can't even see any water going on there because it's so light. Then a little bit of my toner. Come in, give it a little bit right in here. Come back, smear it with that sponge slightly. Then take our squeegee and come through and just try to, see. So there's the problem of it, like wiping the waterborne toners completely back down. I think we can make it okay though. So we just come back. No pressure on the brush, guys. No pressure. Let's try to get those grain rings to look like something without completely wiping them away. More of that dark toner. There we go. Darken it up a little bit better. Let's come in here with this. I'm going to take it off of this thing. This little plastic holder, like that stuff's got to be perfectly flat before it'll work on there. Okay. All right, so you can see that just like irritating to no end, right? Yeah. All right. One thing about it, you don't like it, just brush it out, start again. All right, heat set with the heat gun. All right, so this is first swipe, and then this is after I put the grain in, and then man, it's no pressure at all on that brush. You're just dragging it over that, and it's putting a little grain line in it, kind of darkening up and filling up this stuff. But it takes so long, I don't want to sit here and play it for you guys. I want to keep things moving in the video for you guys, so yeah, you just get artsy fartsy with it, kind of start darkening it up in the lightest areas. Try not to touch those lines from that grain because they are super wet still. Give us a little dark toner in there. And then I'm just gonna let that sit. And you basically either use a heat gun to keep drying this stuff, or you just walk away, do something else, and come back to it. All right, guys, here you go. One side of it got a little grain in there. It's kind of disappearing and fading rings in it. I know trees don't do that, but hey, it doesn't look terrible. I have this side ready, and all I've done is work back and forth until I get a little bit of moisture on it. Take this coarse bristled, half dried up brush, drag it, get some grain going. All right. And then we use one of these little silicone squeegees, and I'm going to set you up here because it kind of takes two hands to do it. Done this a bunch of times, and I just keep wiping all of my grain out. There we go. That's looking better though. So my piece isn't perfectly flat. If you use these, you need to have like a perfectly flat surface, or else it doesn't all hit at the same time. I don't know. I'm an amateur, but I'm having fun with it, and you guys should do the same. All right, so right in here we come in with our brush and we just kind of darken that up a little bit, make a happy little spot out of that right there. And yeah, don't forget, clean the brush. All right, this is take number 479. Yeah, here we go. So you can kind of see I put a little bit of a grain pattern here, and all I'm doing, guys, is just playing with this stuff. It's like you just keep messing with it. I got my toners down there, and I'm just trying to brush out a little bit of color on it. Not too much. We got our grain brushed in the whole thing, so it's a pretty good fake already. But man, just something about having that, I think it's quarter sawn oak look to it, makes it pretty cool. And this dude, you just have to rock it back and forth as you go across, and you can get that pattern to it. And if you're not happy with it, you can probably redo it one time before you soften up your other color and ruin the whole project, you know. Nobody wants to ruin their whole thing. Yeah, we'll just do that. Now, I was using water, and I just couldn't get it regulated down to where it wasn't like all runny and stuff when I was doing it. So I just started using straight toners and just trying to fake a little bit more of this. I think we got it going pretty good though, fellas. I really do. Try to come up with a good fake here. One thing when you're doing just a straight toner, it's really thick, so it will take it a while to dry. But if we just lightly drag that, I think it'll be okay. All right, I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna take this thing and stick it over in the car and let you guys check it out sitting in there, and you can leave me a comment and let me know what you think of the whole process. Well, guys, the floor in here is really dirty. There you go. I mean, does it look exactly like wood? No. Does it look pretty stinking awesome? Oh yeah. I think it's gonna be great. Good. Yeah, for what it is, dude, that's insane. You know, it's a sponge, super simple. These things, I ordered them off of Amazon. It was like $9. It definitely helped. Cheap, 49-cent paintbrush from the Harbor Freight. So all that stuff combined, and you know, some out-of-date PPG Enviro-based toners, it all worked good. If you don't have access to these kind of toners, go and find you some water-based paints that are transparent, red, brown, yellow oxide. Yeah, that's what you kind of need. And remember that base coat color, it was a sim color called Palomino. Yeah, you could paint it tan and just build it up from there. Anyway, hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of this process here, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.